Thank you. Let's be respectful and show them how dull we are. Thank you. Several months ago, it was brought to my attention of some discrepancies on the balance sheet. Now, we've talked about this a little bit in a couple of our other meetings. I had also been informed that there had been 2 sets of books. I started my research into these concerns. After much reviewing of past audits, I found that auditors had stated that Brookridge was running 2 sets of books, primarily operating and social club funds or member funds or activity funds. In December 2014, a journal entry was posted as a memo initial consolidation of social club in the amount of $102,118.20. They put it in one account, and then they put it in another account. And then gradually, took it out of here, put it here, here, here. And went back and forth, back and forth. This went on from January 1 to 2/15. In July 2020, there were not any more transfers of these 2 accounts or these funds. So one fund had $30,917.68, which is on our books. You all can see the balance sheet. It's on our Brookridge.com. I'm not telling any of you, anyone, that you can't look this up. It's showing as cash. We don't know whether it's cash. We have no bank statement or anything for it. And $167,034.29 was put in our revenue. Also, another $32,011.59. And I want you all to understand, this says member activities or social club funds. If you all remember correctly, as of July 2020, every club, every BCO club in here had their own EIN number and they had their own money. There should not have been any money in any of the accounts for BCPO. I've also read through some of the audits, and they tell me that there were unauthorized journal entries made. That means that journal entries were made without authority from the general manager or whomever was in charge. Currently, the backup data is not available. I've researched everything I can research back to 1994. A new server was installed in 2020. To this date, I've been told we don't know where the old server is. Now I'm going to say this. I don't know whether you like, I can't help it whether you like it or not. But if past presidents and past board members would have read the audits, we wouldn't be sitting here with this now. Our finances have been in disarray for a long time. Our new bookkeeper, Vivian Demain, has worked very hard. She's trying to correct, trying to find out where things are. She is doing a great job. None of the problems we have anything to do with our current bookkeeper or this current board. So I'm telling you this because this is one of the reasons that we need a management company to manage our finances, for one thing. And I've told you this before, we are a multi-million-dollar company. Do you want your funds managed well, or do you just want them flying out the door when another group comes in? And it doesn't always have to be, I did this deliberately. It could be accidental. Some of these accounts could be misallocated. I sent a lot of the detail to a CPA, which, as I had mentioned to you before, the board approved hiring a CPA to review these accounts so we can clear up these items that are on our balance sheet. A management company will come in, they will handle our finances, they will make sure everything is right and in order. They will also review our contracts. We have no one that reviews contracts. We just take it and hope that we're doing the right thing. They'll also help when we need quotes. It's hard to get quotes for some of the products that we need to, and the equipment that we need to buy. They want our documents say 3 quotes. It's hard sometimes to get 3 quotes. With a management company, you have an array of people that you can go to that can help you and say, yeah, I can get this company to come and give you a quote. They offer a lot of services that we need because this is a great community development, you call it either one. It's a great place to live. And we want it to keep growing and prospering. We need qualified people that can do this for us. And I want you all to remember one thing. I am you. I live in this development. I would never do anything to jeopardize myself or any of you by making a bad mistakes. I'm trying to let you know we need to make it better. For an example, no staff person is going to be let go, and comments that are made are not true. The staff that we have on hand will be staying here. The other concern, this staff has not had an evaluation or a review in over 2 years until December when I requested it. They will get a review and they deserve it every year. Wouldn't you like to know if you're working, how well you're doing on your job? Or a comment if, oh, I don't like this. I'm going to tell my superior when you get a chance to do that. Yeah, we all want to have an evaluation or a review that affects our rate increases a lot of times. We have a great staff here, and there's no way we're going to jeopardize any of them. And that goes from the top. I'm now going to turn this over to Steve Pisano to introduce our speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna. I'm the chairman of the Brookridge Advisory Committee. We know or knew very little of any of these allegations that are going on until they were somewhat brought to our attention. What we do know is there's some pretty compelling allegations and some evidence of 2 sets of books, some missing monies, our journal entry process being too general with not enough sufficient detail, some possible unauthorized journal entries, insufficient checks and balances for those handling and moving our funds. It just kind of goes on. And I do know that in talking with Anna and Ken, one option would be a certified fraud examiner and or a forensic audit would need to be completed to get answers to these issues. All we know are what's speculated out there and what people have made for accusations. And then from there, refer to the Hernando County Sheriff's Department if evidence of criminal activity is found through this process. This process would be a highly expensive audit to go through. And as we talked with Kathy, she'll be sharing some of the things that they could do to help with some of those costs by doing some initial cursory looking. But while it may be critical to get excuse me, answers to these allegations with charges filed for anyone complicit in this identified suspected activity, it would be very short-sighted and naive of all of us to think that these issues would not happen again and again and again with our present management system that we have in here. Again, those of us that live here, we elect our board. Our board are often well-intended people, but they're volunteers. They don't have the background expertise in management. They develop the expertise in doing what a board is supposed to do, and that's governance of our community, not the day-to-day management. And those are that day-to-day management are the issues that seem to keep surfacing over and over and over again. So it was those issues that prompted President Webster to come to to task our advisory committee with looking at property management companies that could help address this issue. I barely knew how to spell property management companies before we started, but our committee worked very hard and we got educated very quickly on what a property management companies can do. We investigated 16 different property management companies. Of those, we were able to get bids and presentations by 3 companies. Of those 3 companies, and we were able to do our due diligence in looking at the services that they offer, the costs that they charge. And as we got more and more into it, our condominium associates just rose to the top as far as a property management company that could come in, meet our needs. They were very willing to work with us to identify our needs. They even did a pretty substantial reduction in their costs to have us come on board because they feel that they could service us. So it was those issues that made us be very high on condominium associates. And again, just to remind, Anna started this, but our reality is, while we are an extremely large community, make no mistake, we are an even larger business. And with an annual operating budget of approximately $2 million, we are the equivalent of a small city run by an often well-intended, but too often faction volunteer board of directors, some of which with their own personal agendas, and most of which a minimal understanding of what it takes to manage a community, much less a community of our size. What our committee learned, a year and a half ago, there are over 6,500 mobile manufactured home parks communities in the state of Florida. Of those 6,500, the average size of communities in the state of Florida is about 150 to 250 homes. We're at 2,830 homes. We are 10 times larger than the average manufactured mobile home community. So I think it's real critical that our residents understand that and understand the complexity of running an organization this big. I will be introducing Kathy, but those of you that know me know that it's hard to walk away from a mic that's in front of me. But I do want to share, I heard that, Ken. I do want to share, having been part of our committee who looked at all 3 of these companies that gave us bids and presentations, these are the type of services that we learned that a property management can give us. From a management standpoint, they will ensure we have a full-time on-site CAM. And much of you probably don't know what a CAM is, as I didn't either. It stands for a Community Association Manager, CAM. We know that as a general manager. But they would make sure we'd have a general manager on site. They would have an emergency response available for any CAM questions during hours that our CAM isn't here. They have an association service department that supports our CAM, our board of directors and residents. If we have issues that we're not getting resolved from either a local general manager, a board member, a board president, this company is there 24/7, and they will take questions. It may take a day or half a day to get back, but they have an association that will oversee that and will respond to our needs. They'll maintain security gate oversight. They will provide a website and mass resident email. They will process our work order system management. They'll do budget preparation and mailing of those to property owners. They will maintain our HOA fee processing and oversight. They will do invoice processing. They'll provide financial statements, accounting services, personnel and staffing, training, workers' comp safety procedures to include OSHA material safety data sheets. They will do the training of our staff. They will do training of our board. When you become a board member, my understanding is you have to attend a certification class, so they will provide those. They will have regular ongoing meetings to support the general manager. They'll have a regional general manager and a administrative manager that's there to serve our general manager to make sure we can give that person direction, or to make sure they can give that person direction. And other areas, they will take care of monitoring current vendors and they'll recommend vendors for better service or prices. I think immediately to how helpful they may have been with our pool outage that we had, our swimming pool. You know, poor people like Mike are scrambling, trying to find vendors that will come in and work with us and for us. Condominium associates would be able to provide lists of vendors that could come in and fix our pool, hopefully making that job a little bit easier. But they will have document enforcement to assist the board in enforcement of governing documents. From a executive team standpoint, they have a senior area manager, an executive level team member to ensure that our general manager is getting proper training and is effective. They have a human resources department. They will be our people, but they would be condominium associates employees. They would be onboarded, but they would be our people with the salaries and benefits that our board wants to have. But they would take control of creating job descriptions, doing the supervision process. So there's just so many things that they can do from an HR standpoint. They would monitor employees' sick and vacation time. They would, to reduce workers' comp, they would provide periodic safety training for our maintenance employees. They would they would interview applicants for on-site administrative and hourly wage applicants. Their accounting services, I'm not going to get into very much because that is definitely a strength, and I don't want to take that away from Kathy. But those are just an example of the things that they will be able to do for us. They have IT services. They have websites that they'll do. Again, I think if you take the time to listen to Kathy and not listen to all that negative stuff that's out there on social media that our residents are, for the most part, just making up, because nothing that is on those social management or social media pages are very accurate. You know, why people make those things up, I don't know, but if you just take time to listen to what condominium associates can offer, I think you're going to walk away with a much better appreciation of not only our current situation, but how a property management firm can help us to get this back on track. So that being said, I'd like to introduce Kathy Bramhall. She is with Condominium Associates. She is the company that our committee recommended to Anna and the board to consider acting on. So she is going to make a presentation. She'll provide give you opportunity for questions and answers, and hopefully you can leave here with a better understanding than you came here with tonight. Thank you.
appreciate you having me here tonight. I know that you have better things to do than to be here tonight with us, so I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but I want this to be informative for you. And when you have questions, I will be happy to answer all the questions that you have. I'm Executive Vice President of Sales and Retention for Condominium Associates. My title is not only sales, but it's retention. And what that means is I help to retain existing clients to make sure that our existing clients are happy. I've been with the company for 21 years, and I've been in this industry for 30 years. So there's not too many questions I haven't been asked or can't answer for you tonight. I wanted to tell you a little bit about our company. We are locally owned and operated. We are not national nor publicly traded. The owners of our company live in the area, come to work every day just like we do. We have about 400 employees company-wide that service our areas. We go from your area down to the Fort Myers, Naples area. My territory goes to Venice, and then we have another company called President Hospitality that handles our properties past the Venice area down to Fort Myers and Naples, because I just can't drive that far. It's just too much to try and keep up with, so we have two separate companies that handle that for us. Like I said, we've got 400 employees company-wide. We manage around 350 associations company-wide. And what that means for you is that because we are locally owned and operated, because we take care of every individual association differently to suit your needs, to make sure that we're servicing what it is that you want, you get that boutique level of service that other companies don't offer in our industry. And how does that translate to something that you would need or want? It means that we're not going to come in and tell you what you need to do and make it so that you feel as though you work for us. Because I work for you, you don't work for me. And in that process, the way I typically handle an association is I feel like we build it from the ground up. And that means that we decide with the board and maybe with the homeowners as well, what are the services that you need that are important to you that are going to help you become more successful than you even are today? We want to work with the staff and the board to make sure that you have a smooth transition. We have a transition team that onboards all our new communities that will get all your books and records and upload them to the web page. That you'll have the ability to look at all your governing documents. You'll look at your association dues account. You'll have all that information at the ready for you to look at anytime, 24 hours a day. And that is included in your management fee. There's not an additional cost for that. That also offers us the ability to send blast emails. So if you have something going on in your community where a road is going to be closed or the pool is down, that we can send a blast email out to the residents to let you know, hey, we're working on it, here's the status, and here's when we expect it to be back up and running. Because I find in this industry, the biggest thing that's lacking is communication. It's letting your residents know what we're doing, when we're doing it, and when you can expect it to be done. And the same goes for the board. The board would also be actively involved in all that. We require that our managers provide the board with a weekly update that talks about all the things that have transpired throughout the week. And because you're such a large community, it's going to be several pages. But it's going to give the board an understanding of that we're not sitting around doing nothing. This is what we've done for the week. And here are some of the pending projects and some of the things we need to talk about at the next board meeting. And along with that, we then provide a monthly board package to the board that will include a financial statement, a management report, proposals, bid summaries, all those types of things, so that your board can come to a meeting, have all the information prior to the meeting, so that they can make educated decisions. Because what your management company should be doing for you is to stand back and help the on-site folks to get bids, proposals, to share vendors with you that we've used for long terms that do great work for us at reduced cost. I like to say that we're not married to any one vendor for any one thing, so we don't have someone that exclusively handles all our lawn care or something. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. If a company goes under, I don't want our company to go under. So we have several different vendors that we work with throughout the industry for various things, which can help you, which can help your maintenance folks and your on-site folks to get tasks done quicker and more efficiently. And we're also here to share our knowledge. You know, I've been in this industry for a very long time, and I've seen a lot happen over the years. And sometimes just a phone call to say, hey, Kathy, have you ever experienced this? And I'm there at the ready 24/7 to say, yes, I've experienced this, and here's a good path to go down, and here's a path not to go down. Same thing with vendors. We'll share our good ones, and we're gonna share our bad ones to tell you, we've used these guys, they're not good, and they're gonna take your money. And that's what we're really here to do, is to help you and guide you, not force things upon you. As Anna mentioned, we have no intention of cleaning house of your staff. When we take over a community, your staff comes with us. They on board with us. I'll sit down with your entire staff, along with our human resources department and other folks in our transition team. We'll sit with all your staff members and explain to them our benefits package for your full-time folks, the holiday schedules, all those things, so that they have a more secure feeling, because I know it's scary. When you switch from self-management to management, everyone is fearful. Are they going to be horrible to us? Are they going to treat us like dirt? Are they going to fire us all in a week after they start? That's not the case, and I have a track record of 21 years to prove it. In this industry, you keep the staff you have unless they're bad. Then you get other folks and you get interviews and those kinds of things. We're not there. From what I gather from talking with a couple of board members and your committee folks, you have a great group of staff members. Why would you want to get rid of them? Keep them. We can come in and help you to help them. Because I think sometimes what we feel from staff members when we take over is they don't get a lot of good direction. So maybe establishing job descriptions for those that we don't have current job descriptions for, and just talking to them and make them have that comfort level. So what I normally do is I'll sit down with the staff and I'll say, so tell me about your job, and tell me, are there ways that you think that you might be able to do your job better that would be more efficient and less expensive for the association? We can't promise we can do anything for you, but we'd like to hear what you have to say, because sometimes the ground level folks are the ones that have all the good ideas and they're afraid to say something. So if we open up that dialogue to begin with, we may find that, hey, we could do this and this and this and save the association $20,000 a year. You never know. So it's important to get down and talk to the staff, find out what's going on, get their input, find out ways to save money. In talking with Anna about the financial situation within your community, I'd like to say it's not surprising when we take over self-managed associations. It's pretty typical to find that money's gone missing over the years from self-managed associations, because self-managed associations tend to accept cash, do the books, maybe have a couple sets of books, because they don't have the knowledge and background that we do. The executive vice president of accounting for our company is a certified fraud examiner. And what she would do in the beginning is to take a cursory look at your financials to see if there are red flags. And once she finds the red flags, she'll come back to the board and she'll say, this is what I've found so far. If you want me to dig in, like Anna did, and try to figure out what's going on, we can do that, and it's a charge to do that. Or we can find an outside vendor for you to do it. We don't have to do that in-house. We can do it at a reduced rate because we do it in-house. But we want to find out where that money is, because that's your money. It's every one of yours money, and because that money is gone or unaccounted for, it's going to cost you to replenish that, because once we find out where did it go, you need that money for things. And if you don't have it, then your association dues are going to increase to cover that loss. And that's what we want to try to prevent. We want to find out what, on an optimistic side of this, maybe it just got, put in the wrong spot. We don't know. I would like to think that you have the money and we just can't find it, but in most cases that's not the case. Typically it's an employee. But we want to be here to help you find out those answers. And going forward, our robust accounting department has around 25, 26 people in that department. We have every department segregated. So we have an accounts payable department, accounts receivable, we have those that pay invoices, those that reconcile the bank accounts on a daily basis to make sure that no fraud is coming through. Every morning, Monday through Friday, definite work days, we go in the first thing in the morning and we look at all of our bank accounts for all of our associations to see, is there something coming through that account that we didn't write that check for, or we didn't authorize that ACH for? And you'd be surprised at the amount of money we've saved our associations, even in the last 5 years. Probably to the tune of about $350,000. Just folks that are trying to get us from overseas even. Someone from, another country that's trying to hack into our bank accounts and steal money, and we find it. And we have not had one single loss of money for any of our associations, and we've been in business since 1982. So I think that's a pretty good track record. And so we want to help build that. We want to help you to make sure that going forward, you don't have something like that happen. Because within our company, the way we do things is that the invoices would be uploaded to the system, coded by your manager, and then a board member will receive an email saying you have invoices to approve. So a board member or two would have to go in and look at the invoice. They can see the actual invoice itself and then approve it before a check's ever released to a vendor. Vendors are vetted to make sure that they have proper certificates of insurance, that they're licensed with the state of Florida, so that you don't end up having vendors that are going to take your money. And believe me, that can happen too. We had a vendor just within the last year that came to do about a $250,000 painting job in one of our communities. And he presented his license, his certificate of insurance, the whole thing, and within a week he canceled that insurance. And we didn't know. And so we ended up having to go to court, and we talked to the judge, and the judge said, look, you need to do a better due diligence on this. So that's what we did. We go in and we check everybody's license with the state of Florida. We call their insurance company to find out that they're adequately insured. We get a certificate of insurance naming the association as an additional insured, and then we require that that insurance company notify us if that insurance policy is ever canceled or a lapsing coverage of any kind, to prevent that kind of thing from ever happening to one of us. So we talked a little bit about the association website. You'll have work orders, violation letters can go on there, all kinds of different things. That will all be at your ready. You already have a system in place that I think is kind of under construction, I guess you could say, for your gate software and some of the other things that we can help to facilitate that and get that up and running. You would keep that same software package because you've already paid for that. So why do you need another system and pay for another set of software? So we'll just take what you have and we'll just help you with it. We'll get everybody on board and get that up and running for you so that you can get driver's license scanned at the gate and do all the things that you intended to do with it and help you go that far with it. Within our company, we just really pride ourselves on communication is the biggest thing. It's just letting you know what's going on and when. Are we perfect? No. Are you going to find a Yelp complaint or a complaint from Google, someone that got a late fee because they didn't pay their dues on time, or somebody that had a violation and didn't want to fix it and then got a fine and now they're mad at us? We are not always the most liked people because we're here to enforce the rules, and that often doesn't make us popular folks. And we're not perfect all the time, and I'm okay with that. We do the best that we can, and we try to make sure that our associations are well taken care of. But are we perfect? No. Can somebody here tonight stand up and say, oh, you did this or you did that? Sure. We've been in business since 1982. I mean, that's an awfully long time to never mess up even once. But what we do is our best to make sure that your phone calls are always answered, that we're here for you. And like I said, your board members will have my cell phone number, your regional manager's cell phone number, the VP of management's phone number, and our phones are on 24/7 forever to here to help you. So I'm not going to keep you longer. I think we beat this to death. And Steve mentioned a lot of things I was going to talk about, and so did Anna. So if you want, Anna, do we want to start taking questions? Yes. Yes. So one question was that in our monthly financial package, we will include bank rates from banks all over the area that we work with so that you can get the best CD and CDAR rates on your money markets as well. And then the board will have that readily available. We have a finance department that exclusively handles all of our banking needs so that we can get you the best rates in the industry. Of course, right now, you don't want to do anything long-term because the rates keep going up and we want to get you the best rates that we can get you. But we're going to be there for you on the financial end as far as investing your money and making sure that you get a good rate on your money. Yes, I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay, we have questions. Let's start over there in the far, and Ken will come around. If you raise your hand, anybody over there, please. Thank you. Please state your name.
Hi, Ellen O'Shea, Unit 3. I was just wondering what the experience of this company has with a community this size and a community where everyone owns their own property.
Okay, so like Steve mentioned before, your association is kind of an anomaly. You're one of the biggest communities in Florida. And so we don't have another community of your exact size, but we do manage associations that are 1,500 units, 2,000 units in other areas, especially in Pasco County. It's mostly the Pasco, Hernando area that we manage the large ones because there are a lot of single-family homes and things here where we have an office. I didn't mention this, but our main office is at 275 in Ulmerton. Our address is Clearwater, but I kind of feel like that's St. Pete, Pinellas Park area kind of. We have an office on Harbor Island and one in the Lutz area here in Pasco County. And out of those, all the associations that we manage, the bulk of our larger communities are going to be from like the northern Hillsborough, Pasco, Hernando area that have a larger community. Did that answer your question?
No.
No?
I'm
sorry.
Do any of those communities entail
Yes, we
people
do
who
manage-
own their own property?
Yes. We manage co-ops, we manage manufactured homes, mobile homes. Some of them own their own land, some of them don't. So we manage a variety of all that type of stuff within our company, yes.
Anyone else over there? I just like to start here and move across so everybody gets a turn.
Hi, Mike Cummings, 83 Weatherford Ave. Where do we stand with costs? Your costs to us. Your cost to us?
So our monthly management fee is $6,000 a month. And the ancillary costs would only be things that happen in our office, and the board was, or the committee was provided with an Exhibit A that lists our ancillary costs. Most of those costs aren't going to be charged to your association because most everything's going to be done on the site here, and there's no charge when stuff is done on site. Like if you're making copies, postage, envelopes, all that, there's no charge because you're doing it here with your resources.
Excuse me.
It is $6,000 a month. That includes your website, your financial statements, all the day-to-day operational stuff that we provide you. And locked in. That's up to the board. Our minimum is a 1-year contract, but if you have a multi-year contract, I can lock in the management fee for the term of that contract, so it won't increase it.
Could I add to that also, please? Our committee looked in depth at cost because, like you, we live here. We're concerned about the cost that this would incur. But what we've been told by Anna and Ken is that we're looking to make this what's called budget neutral. It won't increase our budget. It won't increase your dues. You know, I can't say it won't increase anything. You know, maybe it'll go up 10 cents or something. But they're looking at ways to make the budget neutral, and they think that they have some opportunity to do that. But they just can't share that yet, but it looks to be budget neutral, and that's one of the things that as a committee we looked at, because we don't want to pass on that type of money to the residents. But if we could make it budget neutral and we can solve our financial problems once and for all without them reoccurring year after year after year, our committee just thinks that that's a win-win-win situation.
And he's right. We're going to look at all the aspects of your association initially to see are there avenues where we can save you money. Could it be in the insurance? Could it be in the workers' comp rates? Could be less than what you're paying now. You know, just certain things like that where we believe that we will probably be able to save you money.
You all, in our last meeting, there was this brochure attached. It told you the pros and cons, and also on the back pages, it told you the costs of the management companies that we reviewed. So it'll be on this last page if you all looked at your agendas from last year, and I believe we had some out back at the time. If you don't have one and you want one, we can make some up down at the office, and you're more than welcome to come down and get one. Okay, next.
You mentioned licensed and insured vendors. What about bonded? Because if they're not bonded and they mess up, then the bonding company is the one that pays. We had a big floor thing done here that was a total disaster, and the people weren't bonded. My second part is also, you have your own CAM, which is our general manager, and you're saying everybody's keeping their job. Why would we have two general managers too then, is my question.
You are going to have the same general manager you have right now. She will be working with the management companies, regional managers. She will, at this point in time, she is staying.
I'm sorry if I was confusing folks on that. When I mentioned the manager and those things, they're your people that will now be working with us. So she's right. We're not replacing your current manager.
Yeah, because what I understood, it was a $70,000. No, I'm sorry. I saw on that sheet that you were just showing, Amy,
Yes, you did.
that was a $70,000 fee for that CAM. So now.
No, yeah, but things change, and right now, I'm trying to tell you right now that when this was made up, it was anticipated if we were to get another CAM, what we would have to pay. We don't pay our CAM anything near what this says on here, and it says $90,000. And as for the bonding,
So we'd be saving money then?
yes, we will. And the other thing is bonding, that's in our insurance packet.
So we'll make sure that in that insurance, there is bonding.
Absolutely.
Typically, bonding is done when you have large projects, but if you have a sprinkler guy that's coming in to make $100 repair, it's a different ballgame. But anytime you do major work like the floors, painting, stuff that's gonna cost in excess of a lot of money, then you definitely want to have that. Yes.
Next. Norma?
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Norma Bunting. I live in Unit 1. I'm a resident here and I also work in the office. So I have a couple of questions, and one of them was possibly just answered. The last meeting that we had, the information that was handed out or given out, spoken, whatever, I obviously misunderstood according to what's being said today, because myself and quite a few employees were under the impression that there definitely would be job cuts. Now you're saying there are no job cuts. Okay?
There was never ever my intent to let any of this staff go.
It may not have been your intent, but we were given that impression. I'm not blaming you for anything, Anna, and you know I'm not jumping on you. I don't mean it that way. My other question is, will we be given access to a complete copy of the contract with all of these yeses and nos in it? Employees won't be let go, committees will remain the same, blah, blah, blah. Will we all be given a copy?
I'm not gonna give it to you personally, but it'll be
Well-
on your webpage, and yes,
Well,
you
I
will
didn't
have
mean you
access,
personally.
because you're allowed to have access to that information legally. So if you ask me for a copy, I gotta give it to you. So yes, we can provide that to you. And our management agreement does spell all that out, specifically for the employees. It spells out that those employees who are pre-existing employees, meaning people that are working for you now, that come on board with us, they're exempt from any kind of ramifications if you decide to leave us. So if you decide in a year that you don't want us anymore, you keep all your employees, and there's no penalty for doing that. And it's written clearly in our management agreement to that fact.
And our different committees in the community, the ACC app community, I don't know, I can't think of them all, the AVRC, all of those committees, we will continue to run them as we were.
They're part of running our development.
Well, I understand that, but
We're
a
not
lot
here
of
to
us
change
don't,
anything.
a lot of us don't know what a management
Yeah.
company
And
will
I
come in and
understand
do.
you have like 80-some committees or some
Mhm.
crazy number like that.
Yes,
That
yes.
won't change either. The way you run your things now is the way you can run them going forward. And if you have an architectural committee and different committees, we'll keep those committees and just help you in areas that you may need help. We're here to try to keep you legal, really.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
a
biggest
good thing.
thing, keep you legal.
And another question, please, is if you get to the point where you feel you have to have more money from us and it isn't there, how would you go about seeing that the association fee got raised? How would you tackle that?
So if we raised our management fee perhaps, is that what you're talking about?
Anything, any fee from you that raised our expenses to the point where we felt like we can't pay it and therefore the residents have to cough up more money?
Well, what we always want to do when it comes to that, and it's usually budget season when that occurs, we're going to put the initial budget shell together for you, and then we're going to work with the board or committee, however you do here, and help them to then make cuts. So we're going to give you the real numbers, what everything costs, and then you come back and say, okay, we're going to cut here, we're going to cut there, so you don't raise association dues. The good thing about your community is you've got 2,830 units here, so you get to divide that amongst a lot of folks. So, sometimes a small increase comes to be a 1 penny increase for you or something. So our goal at budget time is to not raise the association dues. That is the goal, so that we keep your association.
That's ours too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to be spent, I'm sorry, I'm sitting down, it's my back, I'm sorry. They're going to be spending our money for the running of Brookridge, just like we're doing now. We do a budget, and we're not gonna run out of money to pay anybody. They work with our budget, or the budget that's created each wheel. And it's our money that they use. The only money they get is their monthly fee. And if a contract is signed, that's cut in stone, 1, 2 years, however many. They can't just arbitrarily come in and say, well, I'm gonna raise it. So, that answer your question, Norma?
Can I just add to that, Kathy? I think you mentioned to the committee that an ordinary increase might be about 3%. Is that correct? And if we signed a 3-year contract or a 2-year contract, there would not be a raise for year 2 or year 3. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I can lock in the management fee for the term of the contract.
When this contract is given out, will we as residents be given enough time to go through it before you sign it and then it's legal?
No, your board
Legal
members
and done
have
with?
the ability to sign that contract without input from the membership as far as the actual contract. So let me give you the scenario. So if I give you a copy of the contract, 2,830 residents, a copy of that contract for you to make notes and corrections and this and that, how would we ever get that contract finalized? It's not possible. So this is why the statute reads that your board makes those decisions on your behalf. And that's the same thing with all the other contracts that you have, for say lawn care or for your floor replacement. You didn't go to the membership and say, I need all 2,800 of you to look at this contract before I start working on the floor. That's right. You can't work that way because then you tie the board's hands. It would take us a year to get everybody's questions answered and
Now, the floor contract, the money was, I believe, in reserves and available money to replace the floor. This is an entirely different situation, the way I think it is. I mean, why are we discussing it if we don't
I
have
can't
any
speak for Anna, but I think that the intent was to include you all in this decision and they're not making a decision tonight. This is a workshop. This is
Oh, I
not a
know
board
they're not
meeting.
making it tonight.
But they wanted to tell you what was really happening and give you accurate information, because some of the information that has been put out to the public isn't necessarily accurate.
Right.
So I think the goal tonight was to make sure that everybody has all the information and accurate information, so the board can then make an educated decision if you want to do this or not.
Mike Heffernan, thank you, Kathy. I wonder if you might be able to explain to us how our $2 million is going to be handled. Does it flow through an operating account of your company? Does it go through a trust account in your company? The same could be for our GICs that we currently have. You talk about increased rates and that sort of stuff. So where is that money going to be, and how are you going to handle it?
Yes, so every one of our associations has their own individual operating and reserve account. Every association has to be kept separate. We cannot commingle our funds with yours or any other association. It's all kept separate. Everything flows through your operating account. And then when you have in your budget, I'm sure, I haven't seen your budget, but I'm sure it lists that there are certain monies that have to go to the reserves every month for savings. Everything flows to the operating account, then we make a monthly transfer to the reserve account that puts the reserve monies in it that needs to go in every month, and your money's kept there. And on the financial statement, the balance sheet will list what your balance in your operating is, your reserve account. It'll list all of your banking as far as CDs, CDARS, money markets that you have, where they're located, when they expire, and what the rate is that you're getting on your money. The same thing for insurance. The financial package is also going to list the insurance when it renews, what the cost is, and who it's with. And you'll have a person that is your dedicated accountant within a staff accountant within our company that will be the person that handles your financial statements every month, so that the board has a question, or if the staff members do, they can contact the staff accountant directly. They have all kinds of avenues to ask questions and to find information and answers. And I can tell you that your money will be safe with us.
Just one supplemental question to
Yes.
that. So is your firm cutting the checks?
Yes, yes. So like I mentioned before, when the invoices are uploaded to the system, our accounts payable department gets them into the system, gets them ready. The manager will get an email saying she's got invoices to approve. And then once she approves them, a board member or two will look at that invoice and approve it before a check's cut. Once the board member approves that, then the owners of our company sign checks within our office, and then those checks are released to vendors. And now some things will be set up on ACH, water, electric, those kinds of things.
So are those checks coming from your bank account or from our bank?
From your bank account. Yes.
Okay,
No
can I,
commingle funds of any kind. It's your.
I have a question from the YouTube crowd, from Mr. Michael Jaquette. Shouldn't the contract be approved by the new board?
As I said before, this is an informational meeting. A lot of people wondered what a management company was all about. So we're having this town hall to let you know and inform you and allow you to ask the questions that concern you about a management company. There is no vote being taken at this time.
We do. We hold insurance for our company for over $1 million that will cover any losses that would ever occur. None have ever occurred, but we are licensed and insured and the whole thing, our company personally. Yes, yes. And then we have separate insurance for all the employees and all the things as well. Layers of insurance.
My question, I'm Robin Napier. You said you have 400 employees. Are those employees the employees that would be added to, like our administration? Are these considered your employees once you come in?
Yes. They
So-
would be our employees for liability reasons and for insurance and all that kind of thing. So they would be considered condominium associates employees, but the board still decides when they get raises, when they get bonuses, what the job descriptions are, the whole thing.
So when you say you have 400 at this time, this is different associations and condominiums and that you have in your group?
Correct.
Okay, and then this would be to you, Anna. You had said that the reason that the management company would be a great idea is because the board did not know the ones that are sitting up there today, which what I mean is who we have in place. But from what I understand, there's a whole bunch that were up there that had been here for years. So I'm confused whenever you say that they weren't aware, that no one was aware that double books were being done or
No one looked.
no one looked.
From what I
Wow.
understand, it was clearly stated in the audit that was provided to the boards at that time, that they were double books and that things didn't look right, that nothing was ever done. And what the board has to remember is that the board has a fiduciary obligation to the association to make sure that money's not being taken and that they can account for the money, because the board members are liable for that.
Well, that's what I don't understand. If they're liable and we're aware that they have been taking care of our monies all these years and they did nothing about it, wouldn't they be liable?
I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak to that. Anybody can get sued for anything today. You
Well, I know that,
But I'm not a lawyer, I can't.
this is the reason I come to the meetings is because I'm so confused I have watched all these board members up there that I know several of them have been with us for many, many different positions. President, second vice president, treasurer. They've been all these different things, but they didn't know.
I can't speak to that, but I can tell you this, that going forward, you can fix it. That's what
Well,
you have to.
I know we
At this
can
point,
fix it because we've got somebody that's supposed to be doing an audit for us. And I know for 7 months, I've been told about some audit coming in, but we've never seen it yet. Once we see that, I think that's when we could really make a decision on having a management company come in, whether or not it would be good for us. Is it good for us right now? I'm confused because we don't even know what money we have.
That's why it's so important to have a management company, so that we can make sure.
But we paid for an audit.
I don't think you did. Did you?
Yeah, we did. You said that we had paid for it, Anna.
We had an audit. I got the draft. I'm so sorry I'm sitting down. I question the items I just mentioned to you earlier. And on the phone, through emails, and I never got a response. I didn't get, and nothing was done last year, or the year before, the year before, the year before, the year before, the year before.
No, I get you. I totally get you. What we're asking for is, have we paid for an audit? And if we have, if we could all see it, so we really know where we stand. We don't know how much we have. Do we have 50 cents or a dollar?
Robin right now is, I just have the draft. And in the draft it says, it's only for the viewing of general manager and the board. When I get the original one, I'll be sure and let everybody know. I'll have Arlene send out a mass email so everybody knows. I'm hoping that we get it this month. But I have worked diligently on this.
I'm sure you have. And I'm glad we finally know that there's 2 sets of books. I mean,
Keep in
well,
mind,
yeah, there
though,
was,
when someone
but
does an audit, they're not going in and doing what we all think an audit would be like, where they're looking at every little thing and they're gonna catch it.
I know that.
They pull something from here.
I ran my own business. I get that.
So you know, yeah.
I've just never had an audit take this long in my life, and I ran a jewelry store. So, and I had a couple million, all right?
Audit company, do we know the name of the audit company? Our audit company, of who's doing the audit for the company?
Bayshore and La Grande.
So are we
This, what you're asking for is the yearly audit. We have CPA who does our quarterlies and our taxes. The auditor, and to be honest with you, the auditor at the end of the year, when they take your data, they can only work with what you give them.
And to answer your question, we work with Basher and Lejeune with other associations, so we can help facilitate that and light a fire under them to get that done and find out the backstory on all this, because we work with Percy a lot.
Yeah, we don't have a microphone. Stand here.
I understand. She was just questioning why it's taking so long.
Chuck Gordon, the association, condominium association must be aware that naturally older association like us has a reserve fund to take care of improvements that need to be made, and it has to be sufficient, or else the board can even do an emergency yearly, so it has to be sufficient. That's what I want to make you aware of.
Sure.
And even though they say we have sufficient, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but you have to be, I know you maybe, I don't know if you have a study, the independent study, but I wish you would do an independent study. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rhonda Skaggs, and I have a couple questions. It appears that this board has been in a mess. A couple board meetings that I've attended, there's been so much drama and everything. Everybody knows about that. So my question to you is, what kind of training process would you bring in someone to help train and help our board so that they can make wiser decisions, as well as the new GM or the one in place?
Yes, we have a very robust training program. I train board members how to conduct board meetings efficiently and how to carry the day-to-day operations efficiently, and I provide those every year. Sometimes I do them twice a year. We also have board certification events, and we conduct 4 or 5 of those a year. I also do training events for insurance and reserves and you name it. We've done all kinds of training classes throughout the year that I teach, and we mostly do them via Zoom, so that people can just sit at their home and listen and do all those things. And then with our staff, we have an even bigger program. Within our software, we have a directory called the Training Matrix. Every time I do a video and we record it, we put it in the Training Matrix so that any manager at any time can go in and just look at a video real quick on how to do something or get information. And then we meet with our managers, like your general manager. We would meet with her quarterly with all of our managers. We have training with reserve companies that come in as CPAs and different vendors to teach classes, because your community association manager has licensed. So every 2 years we have to re-up our license, which means we have to get so many credit hours to renew our license. So we encourage our managers to attend events. We encourage them to attend our events, and our quarterly meetings are mandatory for managers to come. We also, every 2 weeks, have meetings with just our on-site folks and our portfolio managers to just kind of say, what's going on in your area? Do you need help with something? And just share information amongst our on-site managers so that they can kind of bounce things off each other. Because the one thing that we do have within our company, which has been very successful for us, is a more team environment with our managers. So if Carol has a question about something, she can quick send an email out to all our managers and say, I need a new floor in the club room. Do you have any suggestions of vendors I can use? And our managers are gonna send emails back saying, I've used this company, I've used it, but don't use this one, that kind of stuff. And it's more of a team environment because we're a smaller company. We have the ability to do that, and we encourage that for our managers to work together. We even have senior managers that help our managers. And your manager is gonna be new to our company. So that manager is gonna get extra help, just teaching her how to use our accounting software, just to be able to look up information and the website training and all that. We will have people on the ground here with her, training her, and the rest of the staff. Because what we don't want to do is come in and then just say, okay, here you go, now figure it out. That's not how we do things. We're gonna come, I'm gonna come. You know, we'll all be here to onboard you and to help you throughout the process. And if we need to come back, you know, and do it again, we can do it again. Your regional manager is gonna be here as well, just popping in once a month and twice a month and, you know, just to check in.
Kathy, can I just expand on that? As far as board meetings and running of board meetings, what role do you envision a general manager playing in our board meetings? Either facilitating them or being a resource?
So every association is different. Some associations, their board president isn't a strong person and wants us to run the meeting. So your general manager may run the meeting, call it to order. Do we have quorum? Yes. We move on, we do all the things, and they go through the agenda. Some associations, the board president runs the meeting and just calls on the manager, or the manager interacts with the board and the members throughout the process. So what we don't want to do is anger anyone. We want to come in initially and find out what is it that you expect from us and what can we expect from you. And then we sit down and work it out. The general manager should prepare the agenda with the board president. And if the other board members have items they want to put on the agenda, they need to run that by the president, and we'll put it on the agenda. And then we'll work it the way you want. I typically like to have an agenda that has an open discussion at the beginning of the meeting, so that you can come and you can talk about things that are on the agenda only, that if you want to voice your opinion before the board votes, before the board discusses an item, then you have the ability to do that prior to the guts of the meeting getting started. Now, every association doesn't do that. Some do that at the end of the meeting. Some don't do it at all. So it just depends how you want your meeting to run, but I can help the board to guide them to different directions that they can take that will make their meetings run more efficiently. And if you're having contentious meetings, if you're having things that are becoming a little too much, we maybe sit down with the membership and say, look, we're gonna have to run the meeting like this. I mean, look today, you're all great people. You're not yelling at me, you're not yelling at the board, you're not acting crazy. I mean, you know, I think that just seeing the group of folks here, it's not gonna be a big deal to sit down and talk to you folks at a board meeting and say, here's what's gonna make you run more efficiently. You know, the more efficient you run, the more money you save in the long run. So if you're acting up crazy, yes, I got hands waving all over in the back. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
My name is Kathy Wells. I'm from Unit 6. And first I want to say thank you to Steve and Anna for digging into this. I definitely feel that Brookridge needs help desperately. But I think the biggest fear is, you know, there's 2,800 plus residents in this community, most of which are on fixed incomes. You tell us your fees are going to be $6,000 a month, and yet you're saying, we're going to find a way to pay this. No money, there's a way, and you can't disclose that. That's fine. But still, next year come budget time, are you going to raise our HOA fees another $100 a month to help cover this? I think that's a big, we're on fixed incomes. People can't afford that.
Well, you have to remember, Florida statute only allows you to raise association dues by 15%. So, you know.
Well, and I think it needs to be in the contract that it can't be raised more than, say, 1 to 10% a year or something.
Well,
we're all on fixed incomes.
I get that, because the bulk of our communities are folks on fixed income, so we realize that. I can't put something like that in my contract because I can't dictate to the board what they're going to do with their spending. Right. What I can tell you is what my management fee would be, and we can lock that in so that you don't have an increase for 2 or 3 years, whatever you want that to be. But I can't say that your dues won't go up because I don't know what the board's going to do, and the board has the ability to raise dues or not. So I can't tell you what they have to do. I work for them. They don't work for me.
Well, I definitely think Brookridge needs help.
the majority of us are on fixed incomes. Because I didn't win that multi-million-dollar lottery. And if somebody else did, God bless you.
John Murray, Dinsmore. I was wondering, how long is your contract? 3 years? 1 year.
1 year unless the board wants to sign a multi-year contract and lock in the management fee.
How much can your rates go up year to year?
3%,
It can only go up 3% a year.
and I'll put that in the contract. If they want to just sign a 1-year contract, I can put that in the contract that going forward, that the association dues would not, or the management fee would not increase more than 3% for the coming year.
Okay, and you answer to the board.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, yeah. We also answer to the homeowners too.
Well,
We take direction from the board.
I sent David over there, or Michael over there.
Linda Walls.
You got that?
Just blow out everybody's eardrums. You said we would have a secure website for the residents and all the financials will be on there on a monthly basis?
Yes.
Okay. We've already had approval for a budget for 2024. If the board decides to do this, how is that going to affect our budget since this wasn't built into our budget?
In talking with Anna, the 2023 budget that's already been approved for this year, we feel that there are areas where you would probably be able to save some money that will offset the cost of the management fee, just in cursory looking at some different items and talking with Anna.
Over here?
Hi. Hi, my name is Sheila, and I'm a unit rep for Unit 3. Just a quick question. For our first few meetings that we have monthly, will somebody from your company come to the meeting? Because there's going to be a lot more questions.
Oh, sure, I'm happy to come to the meeting. I would be at your first board meeting, the regional manager would be here, and probably the VP of management as well, just so you, and even the executive VP, just so you can meet everybody and get to know everyone, and then if there are questions that come up down the road, you know who to call.
Okay, that's, as long as like next month.
It'll be a full house.
Okay. No, we only get not even half as many people that
No,
are
that's from our
regular.
company. It'll be all
No,
of our people.
this is a lot of people. A lot of people don't come to
It is
board.
quite a meeting.
It's usually maybe 100.
Typically, we get these when they like have a special assessment.
Yeah.
Or you're doing something nobody wants to do, amend the docs or something.
Hi.
Thank you all for coming. The more people that are here tonight, by the way, the more you can spread the word to the other people in your community, the truth about things and what's really going on, so that everybody knows what's happening.
Hi, my name is Gail Metcalf, and I have a couple of questions. You don't have to boo me. Okay, I read over all of the information that we were given, and it sounds like there's been a little bit of change. And one of the reasons that this was going to be cost neutral was that 2 people's salary were going to be eliminated. And now you're saying that nobody's jobs, I would like her to answer them, nobody's jobs would be eliminated. I'd like to understand why there isn't going to be a cost increase, because all of the homeowners associations that I've spoken to, and I've spoken to maybe 15 or 20 of them, when a management company comes in, their dues are raised minimum of $150. Now, you have a couple of things on the cost management. One says payroll services versus at actual cost, approximately 26% admin fee, 28% non-admin fee guard code enforcement staff. It's kind of ambiguous, and I'm wondering how many employees, which departments, and does this represent? That's one.
Okay, can I answer them individually? Because I'm
Sure.
not going to remember all these questions. Okay. So to answer the first question, We don't have an intention of cutting any people's jobs at all, period. I will say that today.
Okay.
If the board decides to do something down the road, that's their choice. But we have no intention of coming in and firing anybody, cutting any jobs, anything. I can tell you that in talking with Anna, she wants to talk to the board about some things at the next meeting. But that would, some of the things that are currently going on would allow it to be cost neutral. We have no intention of firing anybody.
Gail, I'd like to expand on that, please.
Sure.
I mean, as a board member, you are aware, and you should be aware, that when we originally did this, there was some discussion about positions being eliminated, not our hourly people, but leadership positions within the office. You know that things can't be discussed because they're not finalized yet. What I can share is that the board has a plan to make this revenue neutral, budget neutral, but they just can't share it yet because of confidentiality.
Okay. Mike, I will tell you that the board does not have this information. 2 people that are on the board now have this information, so the board members are not aware of the rest of this. There was something here that you stated in your document that health insurance provided cost for a full-time employee at $500 a month. Are you going to be looking at the employee manual? Because right now it's up to $300.
So when they become condominium associates employees, they have to follow our benefit package. If they don't choose health insurance, then they don't have to choose health insurance and we don't get billed. We have to offer that to all full-time employees, and our insurance package is $500 a month.
Okay, then you have to clarify that. Are you talking about Brookridge employees or the condominium management employees?
I'm talking about anyone who works on this property and is full-time.
Okay, so you're saying if we have somebody from your company come in and work full-time here, we would be taking over their... That's what I'm asking. These are questions that were asked.
We don't have someone from our company
Okay.
going to work on property, and we're going to charge you for that person.
Okay.
We already have staff. We don't need to bring anyone else to charge you anything.
Okay.
And to answer the other question, yes, there's a burden rate. We charge to facilitate all your employees. You have a lot of employees.
Yes, we do.
So we do charge a burden rate, and the 26 and 28% includes Social Security taxes and FICA and workers' comp and all those things. That's what that number encompasses.
Okay, and that was, I didn't know what that was.
And they're different because the cost for workers' comp rates are different for administrative people than they are for maintenance folks and guard folks and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so thank you for that clarification. Something that, and I guess that this is for the executive committee, I would imagine this is for Steve. Speculated costs will be negated via elimination of current leadership and support systems within Brookridge. Possible revenue neutral. This is a speculation. Actual costs will be not known until current Brookridge positions are evaluated and realigned to fit under the services provided by condominium associates, and the advisory committee recommends a 2 to 3 year contract to lock in current monthly fee of $6,000 for the duration of the contract, saving a couple $1,000 a year. Now, I don't see how we can have a contract if we don't get specifics as to what's going to be in that contract. And what has always happened with decisions on contracts is that board members, 3 board members, look at the bids. We've never had an advisory committee look at bids before. They're discussed. Those 3 bids are put in our packet, not as a cheat sheet, but are put in our packet, and the board makes the decision on the 2 or 3. That did not happen. And as a matter of fact, the employees were given all the information before we were even aware that it was on the agenda. Now,
that's something that Steve can address or not, but I want to be, making sure everybody's aware of that.
Excuse me, Gail, I'm not sure where there's a question. What is the question?
Because we don't have, you know, you're saying it's gonna be $6,000 more a month. Where is that gonna come if we don't get rid of any employees? Well, how is it gonna be cost neutral if it isn't? And I think that's a big question that has to go to, that the meeting member, that the members of Brookridge and the board should be aware of before we vote on any contract.
I would agree, and I have two comments to that, Gail. The
Yes.
first is that the information contained in that is a month old, and there have been some changes. Again, as a board member, you should be well aware of the confidentiality of certain situations.
And I understand that.
That cannot be shared now, but
That's right.
in the next period of time, that will come to light. And next week, that will come to light, Anna said, and once it comes to light, you will be able to see how it's going to be budget neutral.
And I hope the board gets that information a little bit more than 2 days before.
I hope they do too, Gail.
Yes.
That way you won't be going around telling people that we were gonna fire every staff person here if you felt you didn't know anything.
Anna, that was
Sorry.
very inappropriate. I am only looking at,
Come on, can we have some quiet, please? Let's keep this civil.
all right. And the reason I say that is because the information that was given to the board to vote on, if you look at the comparison spreadsheet, it says all personnel hiring and all that other stuff will be determined by them. Are they taking over all employee duties? To have 401k requirement plans, does that go to them? Association bills are paid weekly. Is that Arlene's position? The fact that they're going to be.
Gail, can you just ask one question at a time? It's hard to reply when you keep repeating.
So yes, we have to offer, within our company, we offer a 401k package for employees after 1 year. So the first year, no one has the ability to participate in 401k. After the first year, full-time employees have the option to participate in the 401k program.
Okay. And I think that's a great idea, but is that going to be more cost? What I'm getting to, people, is that before we do a contract, we really have to know what the cost is going to be.
The employee contributes to the 401k that comes out of their paycheck.
Okay, but all of these other costs, I just don't think that we should be signing a contract when we don't know what the cost is going to be. Excuse me, people, but listen. All right, informational meeting. I was just told today that it's going back on the agenda next week to vote on. That came from the office.
Absolutely not correct.
That came from the office.
Well, it didn't come from me.
Okay,
I think there was the lady in the peach shirt that's been waiting, yeah, she's waiting for a while. Hi.
Hi, I have a couple questions. First off, our GM has a contract. How is that contract going to, is it going to end? Or are we still going to be responsible for that contract? Now, does the GM and everybody else have to make applications to your company?
Not an application per se, but they have to fill out all the new hire paperwork. And that's where all of our staff would come down to help them fill all the new paperwork out. We do have requirements from the government that we have paperwork that has to be filled out with all new employees.
Right. And property management companies are notoriously known for high turnover of property managers. How long is your tenure in your company? What is your turnover rate?
I've been with the company 21 years. I started our Harbor Island in our Harbor Island office, and I opened our Pasco office, and I've got folks in those offices that have been with us 10 years, 15 years.
For your local property managers?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. And some of our on-sites have been on-site for decades.
And of the last 5 companies that you parted ways with, what was the reasons?
Typically, it's a change of board, where a new board comes in and they want to do things different and they want to clean house. Sometimes it's for other reasons, but most of the time, it's just a change in the guard.
Okay, and is there a penalty to end the contract early with you?
It depends why you're ending the contract. If you're ending a contract for cause, if you're ending it because you can't afford to pay, say something happens and you just can't afford us anymore, we're not going to make you stay. We're going to let you out of the contract if something happens. And you, like say for instance, we had properties down in Fort Myers that were completely destroyed, and they were communities just like yours, and they're gone. And we went to them and said, look, we're going to help you here, but we're not going to charge you the management fee because you can't afford to pay us.
Okay.
But we got to get you out of this pickle, and then you can cancel the contract and say, we don't have anything for you to manage. But somebody had to come in and do that initial work to get them to where they could just say bye-bye.
But everything...
You don't want us, we don't want to stay.
Right, but
Be honest.
every time the phone is picked up to your company, that is an additional cost. It's
No,
kind of
it's
like
not.
is it like an a la carte menu?
No, so if you call our office, there is no charge for that. There is no charge. There's no charge if you call the office here and you talk to your manager. If you call our office and talk to any of the executives, someone in association services that answers the phones, there's no cost for that.
Okay,
That's
and
all built into the management.
have you seen the audit that we have not seen?
I've never even seen your budget, so no.
Okay. Has there been, and I just have one last question, has any paperwork been signed by Brookridge with your company at this time?
No.
And are you aware that the property management vote was already taken and it was voted down?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I was asked to come here tonight to explain some of the items that were the cause of the voting it down, that were maybe just some miscommunication. And that's what I was here tonight to do, is to try and help answer some of those questions.
And this question is for Miss Anna. Are you going to wait till the new board is in place before you make any, propose any decisions?
That will be up to the board. I'm not making any decisions at this moment.
But the current people that are on the board right now that's left have all voted for the management company.
No.
Well, there's, but the people that have would outweigh the people that did not.
Not at this time. Not at this time. I didn't get your name.
My name's Debbie Coble.
Oh.
Okay.
Mike, you have somebody with a question?
Hi.
Go ahead, ma'am.
My name is Barbara Beltran, and I'm looking out here at everyone, and I'm thinking we all should take responsibility for the situation we're in. And the reason I'm saying that is that where this starts is with our board. And if you look and know, we only have 4 people running for the board. Now, what you need to know also, if you haven't researched the people that are running for the board, you have a board member coming on, which all 4 will be voted in because there's no one else running. That person is a financial person, which if you have lived here for a while, know that we have not had anyone with any good financial background on the board. So in a month, however long it takes with this new board, you will have someone that has financial knowledge. So, first things first, you get that person on the board, they can do your audit or find out where this audit is. Well, you will know where your money is. Then you can decide, the board can decide if they want this company. But first you have to know how much money you have. So why am I getting negative? Why? What's that? Well, you have to know your money first. Okay.
How about the gentleman back with the hat?
I have,
Mike, can you wait a minute till I get you the mic? Thank you.
Mike Minesberg, Unit 2, and I just have a couple questions, because things kind of shifted a little bit from the beginning of the meeting. Yeah. Okay, so things shifted in the middle of the meeting, so I have a couple of questions. First, it was alluded to that the management fee would be $6,000. I don't know if that's high, low, whatever it is. Okay, then it was alluded to that there's a new person, a CAM, that is not currently employed by either Brookridge, nor are they employed with you.
We're talking about Carol Webster, who's your current
Oh, so
manager.
you're,
So she
oh,
stays, it's not a new person.
so you don't have a CAM then? You're not adding a CAM?
No.
Carol is a CAM.
All your existing staff would stay, including
Okay,
Carol.
Carol is a CAM, was she trained,
She is,
physically
she's a
trained by
licensed
you?
community association.
Oh, I didn't know, I
So
didn't
am I,
realize that.
yes.
Oh, okay, well, that's where the $6,000, I said, how could you pay for a new
Sure.
person at $70,000? It was
That's
$72,000.
why we're kind of glad that Carol is staying, because that saves you a whole lot of money.
Okay,
because
very
you have
good.
to go out to the
And so,
marketplace today.
and I was wondering what the job description was gonna be for these two people. Did you go through an RFP process at all?
I'm sorry, say that
Did you
again?
go through an RFP process at all?
Yes, I did. I had to go through quite an extensive RFP process.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. With the community here prepared
RFP
with?
is a request for proposal, so the board sent out a request for proposal to several different management companies. Several of them declined to bid,
Right.
and then several did bid,
Okay.
and they narrowed it down.
And with the employees being shifted over to your umbrella,
Yes.
is that a separate, so all of those employees will be your employees and all the other 400 employees that you already have? Will they mingle, and so they'll all be under the same, you're not a PEO or a...
Correct, so
okay.
also if you have 40 employees, then you would have 440 employees that share that benefit of lower workers' comp rates and lower health insurance.
Oh, okay, so you're not employee leasing at all?
No.
And are all the, is all the software going on to your general ledger or on a sub ledger?
Well, what happens is, from what I gather, and I don't know all the details, but you have software for your gate systems,
Right.
for some other things that you're currently using and currently pay for that you will keep and continue using. The only difference would be we would have our own accounting software package.
Including payroll? Or just general ledger?
Well, the payroll is done through a third party, Engage, who we do all the information. We have an app on our phone.
You do the input?
Yeah, we have an app on our phone, so everybody just goes to their cell phone.
Oh,
morning
okay,
and
it puts in
clocks
their
and
hours,
clocks
okay.
out, and then that all gets
Okay.
into our system at our company, gets sent to the payroll company, Engage, and then they send out the check.
So some bookkeeping will go away then? Some
I'm sorry?
bookkeeping, some management of the books will go away?
Correct. Yes.
And the
That will all
payroll?
be done through our company in our main office.
Okay, and there may be some cost savings in that regard?
There will definitely be a level of expertise by having it
Yeah.
off-site that we can't duplicate here.
Right, okay.
The cost for your quarterly check of statements and that kind of thing through an
Mhm.
outside CPA firm, that would definitely go away because you don't need to have them done quarterly. We're going to do them for you monthly, and that's included in the $6,000.
Okay, that explains that, because I was confused how you're gonna add another physical body to the employee and for $6,000 a month.
No.
Okay.
It wouldn't be possible, unless they're like.
Good questions, thank you. Can we just not ask duplicating questions so we can get respectful of people's time and get people home? Back by you, Ken?
Okay, to clarify, the clause for termination, if we were to, you said that there is you don't have like a 30-day or a 60-day clause?
We do for cause, so if
So it's
we do
only for
something
cause.
wrong, or if something, were to happen egregiously, we have an out clause in our contract for that.
Okay, so say that they decide that in 6 months, they want to either go back to self-manage or look at another management company because it's not working. So do they have to buy out the contract?
Well, typically, a management company, when they come in, we initially invest a lot of money, our own money, to train your people, to have all of our executive staff on site helping and doing all those things. So to give you a 30 or 60-day out without cause at any time is not cost feasible for us, because if your new board, say this isn't going to happen, but say this did happen, where tonight this was a meeting where your board was voting on it, and then in 2 months you have a new board come on, I've already spent, say, $10,000 in staff time coming out here to train people and get you up and running, and a new board decides, I just don't like her in the company, we're getting rid of her. I've already invested all that money, and all of a sudden you're canceling, not because we've done anything egregious, you just don't like us, and you just don't want a management company. It's hard for us as a management company to operate like that because we invest so much money up front, so that we can't do, especially for a community of your size, just onboarding all your staff is an undertaking.
Well, I understand that. I'm in management
Yeah, so you
myself.
know. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, Kathy, I know you. We've worked together for quite a few years in the industry. But, so what I'm asking is, what is if they were to, is it a 6-month, a year buyout? What is it?
We haven't even prepared a contract yet.
Okay.
We aren't really to that stage yet, so I don't know, because we haven't negotiated that part of it with the board.
Okay, thank you.
You need a microphone, though.
Is it me? Kathy Galvin, Unit 6, I believe. I just want to reiterate a couple of things. I've been on a number of boards. I've been the treasurer in New Hampshire. It's way different down here in Florida. And I've also interviewed management companies myself. So I do basically understand how this is going to work. So I just want to go over a couple of things so these people understand what I understand. Do we, as the owners who live here, have access to your company? So can we just call, or do we have to go through the board for any questions we have?
No, you can call our company.
Okay,
Any of our offices.
okay. Does all of your direction, meaning what tasks you're gonna do, not counting accounting stuff, come through the direction of the board? You don't make any decisions, the board still makes the decisions, and they'll tell you, we need this or we need that, and that's where you'll jump in with your expertise.
Correct. We don't ever sign contracts. Your vendors work for you, not for us. Your lawyer works for you, not for us. Your CPA firm, the person, Lejean, who did your audit, they work for you, not for us. None of your vendors or any of them work directly for us. They work for you.
Okay. And if and when we sign a contract, we'll have to move a bank account to your location, correct? So that you will have access to funds so that you can pay. So I just want people to understand that. Not all of our money goes there. I believe we move funds that will be paying the bills and stuff. Is that correct?
The operating account
Right.
will be with us.
Right.
Yes.
And I just want to make sure that, everybody understands that part.
One thing I did forget to mention was about paying your association dues. We do allow ACH payments.
I was just getting to that.
Yes, and you can pay your dues by check or credit card on the website. You can pay by coupon. And also, we were going to offer the option to have a scanner on site for paying association dues. So if you wanted to come and just drop off a check, we can put it through the scanner and it'll post in real time.
Oh, excellent. I was going to add, that was one of my questions. And I think mostly what's happened was that we, as the residents, didn't feel like we had a say-so from the last meeting. And I think what's most important for us is, going forward, we're still gonna have to rely on the board for them to be transparent and share information with us, so that we're more comfortable with things that are going on. It doesn't matter if we bring you on or not. We still need to know. So I want to make sure that, when you're going to be training, is this something, as far as communication, that you're going to talk more with the board members about, so that we feel comfortable in the decisions they are making, since we're not always included in that.
You're correct, and yes, we will.
Okay.
And the board members, and I think Steve alluded to it earlier, board members are required to either attend a board certification class or sign a document saying they've read and understand the association documents within 90 days of taking over office. So we offer those board certification courses all throughout the year for board members. And then I do how to conduct board meetings and training events just to teach board members, because some of them, unlike you, some of them have never been on a board before. They don't know how the board runs, and we're here to help guide them and teach them how to be good board members.
No, it does sound pretty good to me, and I was against it before, but for this size of a community, that we either do this or we need a bigger board. So it sounds like it might be a good fit.
Thank you.
I'm Dan Linares, Unified. I got one question. When the contract, let's say it doesn't work out, I'm not saying it wouldn't. After 1 year that you're on, okay, let's say it didn't work out, we can get out without any legal complications or anything like that, and what is the time frame that we have to say that year that we're not gonna be going?
So we haven't negotiated the terms of the contract. I handle all the contracts for our company. We haven't gotten to that stage yet, so I don't know what the expectation of the board's gonna be at this time. But I'm flexible. I'm willing to sit down and talk. I can't always guarantee I can make all those changes that everybody wants, but I'm willing to talk, and what we can do is we can maybe say after the first year that we'll allow a more easy out. After the first year, because after the first year, my costs have now been paid for. So after that first year, I have a little more flexibility than I do within the first year.
Okay, so the way I'm reading it is that after the first year, and if it didn't work out, we've already sold you our employees. This is a big community. Now, if it didn't work out, now we have to go and restaff Brookridge.
No. Within our management agreement, it says that pre-existing employees, which are your people here today, working for you, that they're considered pre-existing employees. Those employees go with you when you leave, and there's no penalty for taking them with you when you go.
Okay, but you have the right to fire and hire any one of those employees. Oh, okay.
No, the board would instruct us on hiring and firing employees.
Okay.
Yes, we're not going to come in and just say, we don't like somebody, they're fired. That's not how this works.
All right, I just want to see what the out is on the back end and see where we stand that way. All right, okay, thank you for the answer.
We want to keep our jobs, we're not going to come in and arbitrarily fire people. Yes, pink shirt.
Thank you. Lynn Bruno, Unit 6. My question is this vote for this management company going to be put out to the 2,830 homes, or is it going to be left up to 7 members of the board?
It's a board decision. It's not a decision for the membership, it's a board decision. You elect a board to make those contractual decisions on your behalf. If you don't like the people that are making the decisions, then you vote a new people. It's like politics, right? If you don't like the government, you vote a new government.
Okay, yeah, so it's going to be shoved down our throat then. Thank you.
Hi, I'm a newbie, Melinda Warner, and I was asking about, I know our board is the one that's functioning. Does the board have so much of a plan that the people are only allowed to be on the board for so many years or not?
That would be in your governing documents, in the bylaws of your documents.
Do we have that in?
You should have a set of bylaws, and the bylaws will tell you the different positions the board members hold, how many positions that you have on your board, and what the terms are. Are they all just one-year terms, or are they staggered board terms? Meaning, they're 2 years and they cycle, you know, on and off. So the goal is you don't really want to have a whole new board every 2 years.
Right.
You want to kind of have.
Right.
But it depends on what your document
But
says.
if they've been on the board for years and years and years, that's not how.
There is a Florida statute that says that if you have been on a board for 8, I think it's 8 consecutive years, that you can't be on the board anymore,
Okay.
unless
Kathy?
there is no one else running again.
Kathy, can I answer that? In the amendments that went out with the budget, there was an amendment that you, after you serve on a board for 6 consecutive years, you have to be off for 3 years. If you look at the bylaws that were, the amendments that were added with the budget, you'll see that there, okay?
And if we could keep
I do
questions,
too.
the remaining questions directed about the management company, please. Let's not do any more about the board. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Hi, Roger Logan, Unit 4. You did a great presentation, by the way, but you lightly brushed over, you have owners that own your company. Has Brookridge done a background check on them? Really, I'm serious.
They hold licenses as well, so background checks are done on them we aren't allowed to have any kind of a criminal record or criminal history to be association licensed managers. And both Sean and Anna, who own our company, are both licensed association managers. There's just 2 of them, yeah. Just 2.
Can I just ask a question of the audience? I know many people are on their way out, and that's perfectly fine, but would you please take the information that you gained tonight and share it with your neighbors, share it with anybody that you can get to listen, so that we're not getting hounded by all of the sarcasm on social media? It would be very beneficial if you would share this information. Thank you.
Go. Yes, yes.
Yes, I'm Judy Townsend from Unit 6, and we've been here 15 years. We've been through a lot of boards, okay? We've been through a lot of boards, 15 years worth. Okay. Anyhow, these are regular people in this park. They're you. Get voted in. Normal people. They have to sit up there and make decisions. May not be right, but we do the same thing. Why not hire them for a year? If they don't improve this place and show you how much they can improve, then fire them 1 year.
I agree. Give us a chance to show you what we can do and how we can make a difference for your association. I agree.
Lynn Southwick, Unit 4. My question is in regards to the 2 sets of books. If you find discrepancies and you know where they are, do you have the ability to file criminal?
Are you talking to
You.
me? I don't have the ability to do that. Our company can't file charges on behalf of the association. The association's attorney and the association board would have to make that decision. And I can tell you that in my experience with that, because we've taken over self-managed associations where we found discrepancies in money several times over the years, it's hard to prove. Because a lot of those folks don't work for the association anymore. The board members that were maybe in cahoots with it are no longer here. You know, there's a lot of mitigating factors that go into those things that we've discovered over the years. It's not as easy as you would think to just say, we found this and now we're going to send them to jail. It doesn't really work that way. You have to send it to the district attorney, and then they decide whether it's a winnable case and whether it's that kind of thing. So it's not as cut and dry as you think, but if you find $200,000 missing out of the kitty, I would think you'd want to know who did it.
And my last question is, what is your company's net worth?
I can't disclose that information, I'm sorry. We're not a publicly traded company.
Let's do 2 more questions if we can. This one and the gentleman over here.
Bob O'Brien, I think I'm in the number 1 area. You say you have 400 employees and 40 employees be added into your group, and it'd be 40. Now, you say you represent all these other associations, and I'm wondering if you have the same agreement with the other associations, how many, if you take out all the tangential employees like ours, how many employees actually work for your company exclusively and are not beholden to their associations? Like 440 sounds like a lot, but then if you say that only our people are 40 people and 20 people are going to work, that changes the expertise level.
Sure, I know what you're saying. I can't give you that number. I gotta be honest, if I were to tell you tonight, I'd be lying to you because I don't know what the actual number is, but I can tell you that out of the associations that we manage that have on-site folks, we have more internal staff members than we have on-site employees. Does that help answer that question? So out of the 400, more than a majority of that 400 are not on-site employees. Because you have to look at most of the on-site employees that we have, there's not 40 employees. There's usually 20 or a couple, one or two, you know, that kind of thing. We manage towers and channel side downtown Tampa, and they've got 20 employees. They've got guard staff and concierge and all that. But most associations don't have that many employees. They maybe have one or two. So the majority of our employees are not on-site employees. They are employees in our accounting department. We've got 90 association managers within our company. We've got a maintenance division that handles what we consider portfolio maintenance, that they go from property to property and do stuff for folks as needed. And then we've got executive team and staff and all kinds of folks. So the majority are not on site.
Now, you said that you signed a contract where you would keep the same rate for 3 years, the $6,000 rate. At the end of that time, all right, if you would have got the 3%, you would have gone up incrementally, and you would get, the first year you'd get 3% on top of that, then that next year would have that original fee plus the 3%.
I think I know where you're going.
So
no,
what
I'm
do
not
you
going to
think-
slam you with like a 9% increase year 3. We'd write it into the contract, what that increase will be, and then that way you don't have to question it. I've never raised anybody more than 5%, ever, 21 years. So I can tell you that it won't raise more than 5%, I guarantee you that. But we don't even typically do 5, depends on the association. But I can put it in the contract so you don't have any question about it after year 3.
I know that a lot of people, like, I always say to people, I say, when McDonald's went from the McDouble from $1 to $1.35, I didn't get a 35% increase. They took 35% increase. So you're saying, so you say 15%, and then you said, a lot of the people here, a little bit is a lot of increase. And I know people are violently opposed to even raising it $2, which would
Well, that
be
was
to
just
cover
to let
you.
you know what the statutory maximum is, that you can't raise it more than 15%, or you're subject to the membership recalling your budget and presenting a new budget to the board. So that's just the statutory guideline, that the 15%, the board should not exceed 15% every year by law. But I don't know that your association would have a need for that. The associations that are currently doing 15, 20, in excess percent increases is because they're condos that insure their buildings. And their insurance costs went from $150,000 a year to $400,000 a year, and they have no choice but to increase their dues like that. Your association's different. You're spreading the dues amongst 2,830 residents, and you don't have insurance you're paying for every individual homeowner within here. You're all paying your own insurance. I'm assuming that that's the way it works. So you don't have high insurance costs like that could increase by 50% for you next year that would make that 15% applicable.
And finally, your administrative costs that you was saying to the lady back there, you cited that would be workman's comp, that would be the other things that they have. FICA, which is like where the money would come from our line item budgets, which we now have, that goes to salary and all that. Are you gonna pay the salaries too, or the salaries still come out of our money?
Yes, well, how it works is we pay employees every 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks you're then billed for the employee's salary and tax expenses.
So the money we've budgeted for the salary, for the social security, and for that, will all be into this, so that they go into that 15, 29,
Yes,
percent. So it's actually already been budgeted for, and it's not an increase. Like, a lot of people here, I heard talking, they said, no, to get this 29%, but that's already been paid for by our budget items, the salary, the social security line items,
I
and,
haven't seen your budget, so I don't.
well,
know
there's,
what all
I know there's workman's comp line,
Yeah.
so those things, so that's another way that it's gonna be neutral.
Yes.
The expense is gonna be neutral.
We've already got that money posted.
Right, that's what I
Currently,
just, but I
yes.
don't think people understand that, because when you see that 29%, you said, 29% is a lot. So, but if you know that the 29% is already accounted for in the budget, and it's just, that's one of the biggest
I
things.
don't know, because I haven't seen your
Well,
budget.
but if it was there,
If it was there, it would be.
then
the
it would
same,
be
but-
just a transfer, and
But I
that's
don't
just
know
the
what your
kind of
budget says, so I can't
Okay,
speak on
thank you.
Thank you, sir. One last question over here, Mike.
Hi, I'm Jim, and I don't know what section I'm in.
Hi, Jim, go ahead, it doesn't matter where you live, as long as you live in the community.
Yeah. A couple of things. Oh,
There you go.
there it goes. I've owned 3 businesses, and fortunately, they were all successful, and I only got beat out of very little money. The rationale behind that was I had my wife, my only employee, working for me. And the reality was that she was so good that I had nothing to do with it. In fact, when I made a suggestion, I turned back to give her my butt so she could kick it. You know, but the reality is that there's many different ways of going to business now. I saw Emeril Lagasse on television today saying, you get, if you give me $14, you can use my product for 3 weeks. What, do we have confidence in all of your people? How successful are they staying? Their rotation, perhaps you want to call it.
So our executive VP of accounting, she's been in the industry for 30 years like I have. She's been with our company for 7 years. Our VP of management, I think I can't tell you the exact dates, but I want to say she's been with us for 6, 7, maybe 8, 9 years, something like that. And then we do have, as we grow, we bring on new employees. We have a couple of new regional managers. They've been in the industry for a long time, but maybe they've only been with us for a shorter period of time, because as we grow, we bring on new people. But the tenure of a lot of the folks in our company is pretty long. Like I said, I've got managers that have worked for me for 10, 15 years on Harbor Island. In the Pasco office, since our administrative director, I hired her in the Pasco office, and she's been with me ever since, and it's been 10 years, I think.
Do any of your employees do side work?
I can't answer that, to be honest with you. I'd be lying if I told you they didn't. I don't know. I mean, during the day, they're working for us. If
Okay.
they have a side job at night, that they're working at Chili's to make ends meet, I can't tell them they can't do that.
Well,
I
if they
don't
were,
know if they do or not.
I'm sorry for the interruption. If they're in the financial department,
Mhm.
okay, do you bond them to not have another job to some other company?
Yes, they cannot work for another management company, if that's what you're asking.
That's what I'm asking.
Correct. Yes, they cannot work for another management company.
This is going to be a satirical comment. I watched Good Will Hunting. He was a man, he had no formal, well, not much formal education, but he was capable of amazing things. So I have a sense that we have to find an excellent one. So if you get this job, and Frank, I don't know Frank from anybody, but if he's the one that's going to be doing our work,
and we find him not cordial, not representative of the attitude here. Can we say to you, you get rid of Frank, not as an employee, just as our employee?
I can't take a phone call from you and you tell me to fire somebody.
Oh, I didn't say fire him. He's still with your organization, but we don't want him.
But if you fire someone, you're firing them for a reason. Why would I want to move them to another position within my company if they're not?
Well, that's your perspective.
Yeah.
You know,
We would have to make that decision at that time, but the board would ultimately be the ones that have to come to us and say, we want to let them go. And then we would bring in candidates for them to interview and find a good replacement. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to have another position for them in another location. A lot of mitigating factors go into that kind of decision making. I don't personally do that a lot because typically they're fired for a reason. Whether it's just being lazy or they're not doing the job well or whatever the situation is. I'm not a big believer in moving a problem from one property to another. I feel like that may be how the government works, but that's not how associations work.
last time, I'll get.
I'm not knocking the government, I apologize for that.
So, I'll get my thoughts together in just 1 second. No, that's 5 seconds, so I'll hand it over.
Thank you.
Thank you. We want you to know what a management company is. It's an informational, it's because the governing documents say the board does the voting. Well, so you know what's going on, what it's about, my dear. I want to thank all of you who came and stayed. And I hope you learned something. Thank you.
Mike, I'm bringing you Mike's. Thank you, thank you. Mike's and beanbag. Yeah. You just leave it here. I'll deal with it in the morning.
You're still laughing?
I gave him a thing.
You're still laughing, Mike.
I was over there joking with people because I said, that's like the seventh time they've asked that same question. It's like,
I said to Patrona, how do stupid people make it from Sunday to Saturday?